It's 10th episode, isn't it? Yeah. It's a big 10. We've been at this for 10 weeks, gentlemen, which is very impressive. Anyways, welcome back to the Deep Day Podcast, episode 10. We have a special guest on the show today, and we're doing a anticipated topic, let's say. It's about religion, especially Christianity, and we have a believer and a non-believer on the show, and it's going to be a showdown, let's say. They're both called Aleks, making it more interesting. So, without further ado, I would like to introduce our special guest, Aleks Vicadinovic.
Good afternoon. Welcome. No, you say welcome is your show. Never mind. Hi.
Yes, so, as I've said, we're going to talk about Christianity, which is the religion that you are part of.
True.
So, firstly, can you tell us a little bit about your religion?
Yeah, sure. Reason why I believe in God and Christianity is, first of all, I've been raised up in a Christian household. So, influences of my parents, of my mum, she's believed in God, and naturally gone to church since I was young, went to the youth groups, and still going to church today. So I guess it kind of stuck with me. The things I've heard, read, watched, so that's the main reason why I'm a Christian. I've been brought up that way, to quite literally answer you. Second of all, from the stuff that I've heard in my youth groups or during a Sunday watching a YouTube video of someone else preaching, is the stuff that I believe in. It sticks relevant to like everyday things. So like the Bible was what, 2,000, 3,000 years old. Is a pretty old book, and you think, hang on a minute, this stuff, it shouldn't relate to nowadays, but a lot of the stuff I find like it does. And that's not just the whole content and certain things of the Bible, but just in general, like, because there's aspects to it. You got the Bible, and then what Christians believe. You got your relationship with God, the whole premise and idea of the Bible, and what the main thing's about. And so yeah, that's why I'm a Christian.
Now, Phil,
Yes.
you did have a question for Mr. Aleks, didn't you?
Yes, well, I have more than one. At the moment, I'm more curious about the religion itself. Aleks, would you say that the Bible is the centerpiece of Christianity, or would you say there's something else that comes above the Bible, like a relationship with God or a relationship to Jesus?
Yeah, I think there's components to Christianity, like there's components to a car. Like you have multiple things that attach all into one. Is that, for example, let's say a recipe, you baking a cake, you got the flour, you got the eggs, they will make the final piece, which is the cake. And that's the same with Christianity. You've got the Bible, right? That's one important.
So what you're saying is the Bible are eggs?
Yes, I'm saying the Bible are eggs. It's basically I believe in cakes. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that.
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying though. Like it's not one thing that defines your Christianity. It's a multitude of stuff.
Yeah, so you've got obviously the Bible where you read it and you understand it. You've got the relationship of God, and then you've also got the whole premise. Like, so for example, in the Bible, you've got the Gospels, you've got Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and they're like they give the message about Jesus dying on the cross, so it's Easter approaching, right? And that's related to it. But you've got the premise of Jesus dying on the cross, saving our sins. So I think those are three quite important things attached to Christianity. So the Bible, your relationship with God, and Jesus. That's involved.
Yeah.
All right, Aleks, I have just one question for you. You were talking about having a relationship with God, right?
Yeah.
How can you explain your relationship with God? Is it like a type, I don't know, a mutual beneficial relationship? Is it a partner relationship? A master-servant relationship? Whatever
Are
the
you guys
fuck?
together?
Yeah, like
Are you
are we
dating,
husbands?
fam?
Like what's going on? Yeah, that's a good question, Alex. I would say it's so in the Bible it describes that we are God's children. So like I would say so you'd hear like in a prayer or whatever, or like for example, let's take the Lord's Prayer, dear Father who art in heaven. So like he's our father in that way, but it's not just like, yeah, he's my dad, but I'm not like blood related. Like relationship wise, yeah, he's our father. Yeah.
How does it feel
Okay.
to have a father who's not there?
Excuse me, what? Yeah.
How does it feel to have a father who's not there?
One I've never met before. Yeah, it's kind of weird. I've never seen him in person. But there's more to that, isn't there?
I think a fair question to ask is a lot of people who believe in God have said they've had like experiences with God, like an emotional experience, whatever that has made them believe in God, or they've heard God's voice, or they've had a sign or something. Have you had anything like that?
I would say like people like, oh, have God spoken to you or this and that? I'm like, well, yeah, I have. So for example, I was thinking about something. I was like, I won't get into detail about it. And I was just walking home listening to a song, and the lyric of the song came up. So you could say, oh, that's just coincidence, but I believe that God used that lyric. I think I was annoyed about something, and I think it was quite a mellow song, and it was like, I can't remember specifically what it was, but basically I was like, oh, I got you, God, because the lyrics spoke to me. I felt like that was basically God in a way connecting, saying, hang on a minute,
Yeah.
I'm going to provide
Yeah.
you this music. So in that sense of, I've had that experience of him talking to me through a lyric. I'm just trying to exactly think what else. Yeah, and there've been other examples too, but I would say that's one I could deem like I've had that before.
Alright, but Alex, I have a little bit of a challenging question for you.
Yeah.
So you gave an example about talking with God through the lyrics of the song that you listen to, right?
Say that again. Sorry, bro.
Yeah, you said that God was talking to you through the lyrics of the song, right? Do you wait, I'm not gonna ask do you believe, but do you think there is a chance that the emotional connection that you have to the being that you deem God or call God has caused you to see patterns and see connections that aren't there?
So, like, what I believe in, just because I believe it and I think, oh, yeah, that's God speaking to me. Is that what you're trying to say? Because I have that emotional connection to it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
basically.
you maybe make bigger connections out of things just because you already believe it.
Yeah, like
Like you're
people
searching for it.
people overthink. Like someone throws you a snarky remark and you start to freak out and start to like search deep into the meaning behind something that was just going to be a snarky remark type thing.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. And you could view it that way. I think if you look at it in general, like if anything, if you take religion out of the picture, like for example, let's just take the first thing that comes to my head. For example, say someone cusses your mum. You're not gonna sit there and say, hey, yeah, sure, go send hate at my mum. There's some emotional connection there. So like for example, when you talk about it like, are you saying if someone makes a comment about like my religion or just in general because there's
No,
that emotional connection?
we're just kind of saying that. Say like the lyric thing that you said. Do you think that you maybe because you already believed in God, you saw something there that maybe not like a person who didn't believe in God wouldn't? So like, do you think that maybe I think what Alex is trying to say that is because you believe in God, you see that as God speaking to you, whereas other people might just see that as just a lyric in a song.
Josh. One thing, that statement could actually be contradictory as well, because same with seeing patterns that aren't there.
Yeah,
It could be that emotional connection or an argument from the religious side could be, well, we see things that are there, but you can't see those things
because you don't want to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. To be fair, I think that's down to interpretation. I'd say yes. Like to me, I don't know. I'd say I kind of agree what you're saying. Well, because I consciously already believe in something, then yeah, I do have that emotional connection to it.
Because
So
when you want to see something or you want to hear something, then you will see it and you
yeah,
will hear it.
yeah. Hmm. I haven't have thought about it that way before. But you know what? You could be right. Just because I believe in something, I have that more emotional awareness of it, and I think, yeah, that's God speaking to me. So like, I don't. I think I've said it the best way I could. Yes, like just because I am more aware and attached to something, then I might see it that way.
Yeah, all right, Alex.
Mm.
So, 2000 years ago, apparently, well, it's 2026 years ago now, apparently,
Yes.
Jesus was born, right?
Was he? That would have mean he died when he
Yeah,
was 5, wouldn't it?
yeah, but apparently he was born 5 years before he was born.
He was born
Makes
5 years
sense.
before he was born.
I
Yeah,
haven't heard of that in the
apparently.
Bible before, but sure, we'll go with
No,
that.
it's not in the Bible, but I read a scientific study about it.
Okay,
Uh,
sure.
Well,
yeah,
roughly, I mean,
but
we're talking
anyway,
fine
yeah,
margins here.
yeah,
Roughly 2020 years ago.
Yeah, it's a
roughly
long time
2000.
ago.
Yeah. All right, but my question is, that all happened 2000 years ago, right? So a woman
Got
had sex
impregnated
with
by the Lord.
yeah, was
Yeah.
impregnated by the Lord. A kid was born. That kid became popular, got killed because he was too popular, and then
Too cool for school.
which just even made him more popular. Now,
Mm.
Yeah.
if you
I might
think
try
about
that.
yeah, but if for example, nowadays in modern times, how would you spot? Because Jesus has said that he will return to earth, right?
Mm.
Yeah. So how would you spot Jesus in today's age?
I guess it's
And
miracles, right?
yeah, but what would make people believe it? Because people have
A mir-
seen miracles all around. Like for example, in the medieval ages in Norway,
Mm.
we had a dude called Olav the Holy, which was supposed to be the king of Norway. He was the
Yeah.
king of Norway, I believe. And for example, if you go to his grave by the cathedral in Trondheim, that's where his
Yeah.
grave is supposed to be. He can, his body can heal your sickness
Mm.
and shit like that, right? So there have been many things like that, but what makes Jesus so different from all the other miracles? Is it
Yeah.
just him
Yeah.
walking on water, or what?
Was there anything that that this medieval king did? Was it just him being alive and around, or was there something significant that he did with his lifetime?
Man made the entirety of Norway Christian.
Right.
Well, maybe
Okay.
he is Jesus in some sense. Then if it's Christian.
Yeah, but I just figured out my own answer.
Yeah.
No, because if he
Should I answer that for you?
because Jesus was a Jew, wasn't he? So why would he
Yeah.
spread Christianity?
Yeah.
Because
So the, should
yeah.
I, should I answer what I think before you said
All
you
right,
answered your own question?
go ahead.
So I think what's different is that what I believe and what the Bible believes, that Jesus died on the cross and he died for our sins. So I think that's like the main thing that's different from, could you say, anyone else or this king in medieval times. I think that's like the difference, right?
Yeah, but
That was what's significant that I believe.
then
And I
again,
think
man got stabbed in the middle of a field like
yeah.
3 times, chopped with an
Yeah.
axe, and all
I
that
think I
shit.
think the thing you were saying before about what it would take to convince people today. I think it would be a lot harder today because if you look at back in those days when Jesus took over the world, everyone was already like believed in some religion, whether it was Judaism or anything. Like people were already religious. It just kind of changed their beliefs on their religion. I think today people are a lot more not against religion, but a lot more hesitant to believe in that kind of stuff, just
Mm.
because we
Like,
more advances in science, all of that kind of stuff.
yeah, and
But I
there are
think
more
it's
atheists in today's
Yeah.
world than there's
Well,
ever
I think
been.
I think you definitely struggle to convince everyone like Jesus did at that time. I think it would take because
yeah.
you get like even if like I reckon even if he did perform a miracle, you'd have people saying it's fake or this or that. So I reckon it would
Yeah.
take a lot of convincing.
Well, to build on that, I have the question that if Alex wasn't brought up as a Christian, would he turn to God, like, say, when he was 18? Would you turn to God now, like then?
Well, in the Bible, what God makes clear, everyone has free will. Like, I'm a Christian, right? I'm talking about my faith on this podcast. But like, that doesn't mean all Christians are gonna go around bash you with the Bible, say, hey, you have to become a Christian because that's what God says. No. He says everyone has a free will to believe what they believe. If you want to be an atheist, that's down to your choice. If you want to be agnostic, if you want to be Muslim, if you want to believe in Buddha and, like, I know certain Asian countries, if you want to be Hindu, that's cool. I don't have a problem with that because God made it clear that everyone has that free choice. So Headley, would I be a Christian if I didn't raise up in that environment? I don't know. I'd have to explore it for myself. Now, I can't just detach myself and say, oh, I'm not too sure, because I've been raised up that way. That's the way I've known. It's my mum and what I found out and what's been influenced. So,
do you think you would make that effort to explore
if
around this age? Would you be like, oh,
if
well, I've heard
yeah,
about this religion, I want to see what it's like?
it depends how curious I am from a certain aspect. So, I'm a Christian. Headley's my friend. Phil's my friend. Josh my friend. Like, what's my point I'm trying to say? If I wasn't a Christian and I got a Christian mate not banging on about it, do I bang on about Christianity, Headley?
No, I mean, you bring it up now and again, but not like, oh, you should be a Christian.
No,
like that.
Right.
You just say how it sort of helps you if we ever ask the
So
question.
it's not a
Yeah.
missionary.
So, yeah, hang on, let me just finish. So, if I had a friend like myself, could you say, he was a Christian, then yeah, I'd be like, hang on, what's he going on about? Why does he believe that? And I guess that's what we're here today talking about on this podcast. So, yes, I would answer. I would be curious, but would I be like, yeah, sure, Christianity is my thing? No, of course I wouldn't, because I wouldn't know what it's properly about unless I explored.
Hmm.
What are you going to say about missionaries? Sorry, whoever I cut off.
No, I just said so. He's not a missionary. He's not trying to get people Christian.
Yeah. And you also had those people. So in my eyes, a missionary. So for example, you got missionaries that go to, like, I know of one, and he goes to this country called I need to get no, not Bangladesh. It's a country in Central Africa, Burundi. So it's like dead center in Africa. Okay, and they don't know a clue about Christianity. It's not a common thing. So he goes there and he shares the gospel. He believes what I believe, what I'm talking to you about. So yeah, you have got missionaries, and I'd say they share that, but no Christian, unless they have wrong morals, say, hey, yeah, this is my religion, this is what I believe, I'm going to force it upon you. If you know a Christian that's doing that, then I think they kind of need to have a look at themselves and think what they're doing and how they're approaching people in that way. But yeah,
Need to look in the mirror.
Look in the mirror, as Michael
And they
Jackson
Alex,
will
once said.
recognize myself.
Alex, I'm not
Yes.
gonna deny that Christianity and religion has caused a lot of peace and has caused a lot of community among people.
I'd agree.
But on the other end, it has also caused a lot of conflict and
Yeah.
it's caused a lot of wars.
Mm.
Do you think that the peace and the communities and the high faith and the happy people emotions and shit outweighs the negative sides?
Yeah. I talked to Phil. We have good conversations. He's interested. And he brought up the Crusades, and that was between the Muslims and the Christians. And this was back in around the medieval times too. I don't know what date. And I'm thinking, I've never thought of that properly. Obviously, I'm aware of it. It's history. And it's like, what, they were fighting over promised land? Like, it's like, wow, those are a lot of innocent. I think, war does have innocent people die, and that's just a fact. So lots of innocent people died, and lots of Muslims and Christians died. Like, do I agree with that? Does that sit with me right? No, of course not. I don't want people dying. Do I think it's? What do you say? Do you think like it's like just? Like, hang on, say it again. So
Yeah,
you think that balances it out?
do you think that the good parts of religion justifies the bad parts?
No, no, it doesn't, because no, it is. Yeah, no is the straight answer.
So are you saying that it would be better if there was no religion? And because
I think he's saying that the word justify means like, it doesn't justify. It doesn't mean that just because it's caused good, it can cause bad.
yeah,
But it's still like, it can cause good. It's just about eradicating the bad rather than just throwing it all away just because of bad experiences with religion.
Yeah,
I think what Alex is trying to say is that you can't just kill people just because it's for your religion. That's not how it works.
Yeah.
And for example, I believe that if the world has never had any sort of religion whatsoever, then the whole concept of having morals would just be out the window. Wouldn't exist. It would be each individual morality. It's in the Norwegian law book, right? That Norway is a Christian state. So we base our laws, or at least some of our laws, at least in the past, on the Christian faith and their morals, right?
Yeah.
So what would actually happen to the world if none of those morals ever existed?
But then again, I know people who aren't religious, who have never been religious, who haven't been brought up religious, who still have great morals. And I don't think it's only because of Christianity that morals exist. Because I think you can get very moral people. Like, I think there's people even in this chat who aren't religious who still know what's right and wrong and still wouldn't act a certain way just because of religion. So I think I know what you're saying, where it's like it affects a lot of our morals, but I don't think you could still have morals without religion.
Yeah. I totally agree with that. But religion has caused a systemized moral system.
Like a set
It's
morals. I know what you mean.
it's systemized.
Yeah.
Well, if
I think it's more of a case where instead of making up your own morals, it gives you morals to follow.
Yeah, because if none of that existed, it would basically be anarchy. Every man.
Yeah,
for
everyone would
himself.
choose what they think is right. Yeah, I know what you mean there.
Yeah.
I would, like for example, you said Norway is based on Christian morals. This country has had a long history with Christianity too. And then I don't know all the facts, but I know Henry VIII, he had a problem with it, and Protestant Christianity came into it. Like, things that changed over time, but like, you got the Church of England. Point is, Christianity is quite a major thing in this country. And
in the world, yeah,
around the world. But if we're talking about the UK and Norway too, and you said a good point, Josh. I think everyone would have their own morals anyway if you disregard religion. Okay.
Yeah.
Say religion wasn't even a thing; it didn't existed, right? And I go punch someone in the face, like, he's innocent. Let's make it even more deep. It's like an old man. He can't defend himself. I'll go punch him, take his wallet, and run. Right? I've got an extra.
Why would you do that?
No,
Alex. That's not very Christian of you.
Yeah, why wouldn't you? What's wrong with you guys? Okay, but for example, from not even a Christian standpoint, you think, what? That's so immoral. Why would you do that? Like, what's wrong with you? So I don't think that, obviously, Christianity has certain morals that are quite deep and that will clash with today's society. So I would say, I'm trying to get to my point without waffling, but I think it's however you look at it, however you interpret it. But even if you detach, that's not a word, detach religion with it, you would still have your own morals anyway. Like an old man getting punched in the face. I'd hope you think that's wrong.
All right, Phil, you haven't talked. Well, you've asked one question, so I'm going to give you the word now again, so you can ask some more of those 1,000 questions you have.
Well, it's not so much 1,000 questions that I have, but I did.
No, it was an exaggeration.
Or maybe I do have 1,000 questions. Who knows?
It might be a long
you didn't
episode.
have 1,000 questions.
Hey guys, welcome back to part 16 of Talking of Religion. We're now up to 400 questions.
I did some in-depth research on the Bible and God himself and his actions.
The big man.
So, Alex, I've sent you this one. Question 1. or more like statement 1. God himself will kill tens of thousands if it pleases him. In Samuel 1, I think chapter 6, verse 19, in the King James Version, God is described as he smote the men of Beth Shemesh. Sorry if I butchered that.
No, you didn't right, Joe. Yeah, Beth Shemesh, yeah.
Because they had looked into the ark of the Lord, even he smote of the people 50,000 and 70 men, so 50,070 people. Earlier you had said that man has free will, right?
Yeah.
And if I have free will, why am I not allowed to look at something? Yes, I understand that it's holy, but why is God killing 50,000 innocent men in this case? Because they haven't actually committed a crime. If anything, only a crime against God. How come he just in a blink of an eye kills 50,000 men just for looking at something?
Yeah, that's a fair question. And you gave me these questions a week before, right?
Yes.
Or so. And I looked away. I was like, damn, God, what's going on? Why are you doing that? So
That's mad, bro.
I looked
Come on, God, what's up? That's not how you roll.
Why are you killing people? What's going on? No. So I looked into it because at the end of the day, I'm a Christian and I haven't read through the whole Bible. It's quite impressive if you met a Christian that has. But so I've heard of Beth Shemesh and Samuel. I've read Samuel before, but not in depth. So
I like Samuel. He has a cool story.
Yeah.
Very, very, very interesting.
Right. So I looked into it, and I would disagree. So the quotation that you picked out from Samuel here, the people, they weren't innocent. So I'll put a tiny bit of context into the verse from Samuel.
Yes, please.
So what Samuel tells us about is how discontent. Hang on, let me say that again. What Samuel tells us is how I can't speak today. Thank you, Headley. Discontent started brewing in Israel as God's people lost battles to their enemy. And this is what I'm reading off my notes, by the way. So the Philistines, who even managed to capture the sacred Ark of the Covenant, rejection of the Lord as their ruler, and although God warned them of their consequences, he gave them what they'd asked for. So that sounds a bit confusing. Basically, the covenant. Hang on, sorry. Not the covenant. What did they look at? Hang on.
Yeah, the Ark of the Covenant.
Yeah, the Ark of the Covenant. So there's so many things. So much to the Bible. But what I can say is, are you aware of like Pharaoh and like Egypt and how?
Was Pharaoh the one who had the Jews as slaves?
Yes.
And then Moses freed them.
You know the Technicolor Dreamcoat Joseph.
Yeah.
It's like
I played him in my year 6 play. Best moment of my life.
Decent.
I was a star.
Did you get any awards?
No. I just got snubbed with an Oscar.
Fair enough. Anyway, so basically they're coming out of Egypt, and I don't know if there's the next book after or whatever, but they're still wandering in the desert. They're trying to find the promised land. And
so this is directly after that.
Yeah, similar time. And they're carrying the Ark of the Covenant, which is a sacred ark. And it kind of, in a small way, symbolizes God. In I wouldn't say in a piece of wood, but like I don't know. I can't exactly describe words, but it's quite holy. The Lord said, "Carry this round," okay? And the Lord said, "Don't look at the Ark of the Covenant." Why, you may ask? Because it's so holy. God is so holy. He's so powerful, and as humans, we're not on that level. So there was already that pre-warning of just watch out. And it says here, and the people of
so God personally warned them.
Yes, yeah.
I think that does add another layer to it, where it's not just them looking at something; it's them directly disobeying God.
Yeah.
So basically, they committed a death sin.
Isn't that similar to Adam and Eve though, when they were told not to eat the apple?
And the bitch ate the apple anyways.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't get killed for that. It's got. Well, to be fair, you could argue that what they got was worse. They got turned mortal, didn't they? They were originally immortal, and they got.
Sin was kind of created from there, right? And then they got banished from the Garden of Eden, and then from there, everything God's plan kind of went out the window.
God's
Drake must be
plan.
pissed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was about to say the same thing.
So yeah. Anyway, so if I put context to this, they did sin. God said, "Don't look at this." What did they do? They looked at it. So therefore, God used his authority. He was rightfully angry, and he punished them by death. You think, flip an egg, just give him a warning. But I think the one thing
Name on the
God,
board.
yeah, name on the board, to get sent out of the classroom, no, but God is quite harsh, but he's loving and harsh. He does things such as that for a reason. And death, you could say, it's quite extreme, but that's what he said.
Yeah, but
I mean?
one thing I'm wondering about, why would God just say, "Yo, carry this around, but you ain't allowed to look at it." All right?
Yeah,
You
fair
you
enough.
like
Maybe it was a
they
test
can.
of their faith.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but like, why would you or tell men to carry something and then tell them not to look at it? Like, what are you gonna do? Place a blanket over it or something and just carry
They,
it on your back?
But
yeah,
that's the
they may
entire
well
point, though.
have.
You got to listen to God.
They,
Big man upstairs.
I know you're half joking, Josh, but you've low key got a point. Like, at the end of the day,
Yeah,
it's a
no,
test of
no, I'm being completely serious. If God says you have to do it, and but you believe in God, and you disobey God, it is directly disobeying the thing, what you base your life around and what you believe in. So
true.
maybe it was a
Yeah,
punish. Maybe he was trying to make a point to the other
So
Christians, and
basically, so it could be symbolizing betraying your own life means losing your life, kind of thing.
yeah,
Because your faith is surrounded, or your life is surrounded by your faith.
I know. It's. Say that again. Sorry, just because it was quite a long question. One more time. Sorry, Alex.
Alright. I'm sleep deprived. All right, I'm losing my way
Yeah.
words. Yeah, but all right. So maybe it symbolizes because Josh had a good point. He said that your life is based upon your faith.
Mm.
So if you betray that faith, you betray your life, and therefore you lose your life.
Yeah. I think. Yeah. Okay. All right. I understand. Thanks for saying that again. Yeah. So as Josh said, right, I think you could definitely say that was a test of the faith of the uh, Israelites at that time, that they were told not to look at it and they did, and they got punished for
poor
it.
from them.
And
Really bad.
and you could say, hang on a minute, but then how does that relate to us? Or in terms of, so what, do you just lose your life? And that's a question I can't completely give you a straight answer on, because that's when I'm sitting there and thinking, wow, like, what if I sin? Like, I just go to hell? No, it's not like that. But it's a big question. It's a big question, and I can't give you a straight answer.
I think this brings kind of up something I want to talk about, where I saw a thing written where it was like a different interpretation of the Bible, where it was more looking at it rather from a direct literary "this happened," where he's kind of it's more metaphorical, and this is God telling stories with these people to help us understand, and it's not actually that these people died, but it's rather him explaining to us in a way where we can understand it, if that makes
Yeah,
sense. So it's kind of what they'd be saying, that these people, he didn't actually kill these people. He was using it as
yeah,
a metaphor to show that following your faith never ends. Not following God's orders never ends well. And I
yeah,
think that could be used to answer a lot of the question I'm assuming you guys have, where it is a case of this doesn't make
yeah,
sense, or this was too harsh, or because I think that makes a lot more sense. Because I don't know what I believe in. It's very tough.
yeah.
I believe maybe there's something more, but I don't.
Yeah.
Also, at the same time, I don't believe in a guy in the sky with a beard, and like I don't believe in like a guy coming down and like the direct story of it. But I can get behind the idea that rather than this actually being real and a story of a guy coming down after the Lord impregnating Mary and having all these miracles, that just doesn't really make as much sense to me. But a guy
Yeah.
God telling his stories through a person like that,
Mm.
and trying to teach lessons about being a good person through that makes a lot more sense to me.
Yeah. So, like, I think it's down to interpretation. In Christianity, for example, in Islam, you've got Shia and Sunni Muslims. Now, in Christianity, it's a bit more broader than that. You've got Church of England, you've got evangelical, you've got
Is Catholic
like
Catholic a brand of
20
Christianity?
You've got like
Catholic.
25 different
Yeah,
types of Christianity. It's
there you are.
fucking E.
It's a lot. It's a lot. So it's down to interpretation, I'd say. So, for example, Josh,
Yeah.
so with the creation, okay, the Lord made the world in 7 days. Now, some think, really, 7 days? Is that all? Maybe.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like it
forming in
seems like
7
quite
days,
odd.
but was it one
Yeah.
day? Was it a month? You know what I mean? So I think it was 7 days, and
Yeah,
it actually came
that's
up.
what I mean. Where I say that doesn't really make
Yeah.
sense to me. That it's so specific and all that. But maybe
Yeah.
it's being used as a metaphor to say God is so powerful that He could do all of this in a day or in 7 days.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like exactly. And then you've got the Sabbath, which is the holy day. Today we're recording this on a Sunday. Like I think it was Headley or Phil was earlier said, is it the Sabbath? Do you do any work today? And anyway, I'm getting off topic, but the point is, the 7th day he finished and he rested. So did he rest on that day? Did he have the Sabbath on the 4th day? It's up to you to kind of interpret.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm getting a nice quote here. He said, "Let there be light." Some Christians believe that God said that and created the Big Bang. So that's another good point. That's just been that's
Yeah.
also what I
Yeah,
got my
that
notes.
makes
So, like,
sense.
so do some believe in the Big Bang and that's how it's created? God said, "Let there be light." Like more different, like modern interpretations, and that's all for you to believe. Like God's not saying, "What? I can't believe I said it this way, therefore that's not the right answer." I think you have to be more open to what everyone believes, really, and that not just goes with the creation. That's also different views in the Bible. Different Christians have big fat arguments about different things in the Bible that said are wrong and right. So
Yeah.
there's even a lot, even as talking to you guys, I know I'm aware, Alex, you're an atheist. Phil,
Yes.
I'm not too sure, but Josh, you told me openly,
Yeah.
you kind of believe, you're not too sure, you're
I
kind of
don't know. I think what's the word?
Exactly.
Ogni something? Where you
Agnostic.
don't really know. Ognistic.
Agnostic.
That's it.
Agnostic. That's it. Where you are confused.
Question it.
That actually leads on to a question I had. To flip it on its head, I wanted to ask, so when you say you believe in atheism, do you believe there's like absolutely nothing else? It's just pure science.
So I'm an atheist, and basically the image of a perfect atheist is someone who doesn't believe in jack shit, doesn't believe in humanity, doesn't believe in himself or anything like that bullshit, right?
No self-confidence.
I've got a fuck ton of confidence, alright? My
You
ego
just say he doesn't even believe in himself.
Yo, my ego is super bloated, alright? But I'm an atheist. I don't believe in God, and I don't believe that there's anything all-powerful that has created everything. All I can think about, because I try to draw logical conclusions all the time, the things that
Yeah.
make the most sense, right? And in my head, you can't create something from nothing because that's physically impossible. So I'm kind of stuck between the wall between science and the Big Bang and all that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, because
so I'm not really sure that like science has shown, or there's a theory. It is a theory. The Big Bang is a theory. It isn't proven. But for example, I'm stuck between religion and science. And because no matter how you try to explain the start of something, it doesn't quite make sense because something can't come from nothing. It doesn't work like that. And at the same time, religion is a problem with me because the fact that something can be eternal is something that our minds are basically too small to grasp. Like the concept of uh, eternal living and everything like that shit. So me being an atheist is just me thinking that it is what it is. The world is like this. It's because it somehow ended up like this. All right. So that's everything that my brain can handle, basically.
Yeah, I think that's I think that's quite a good explanation. And even as a Christian sitting here, I'm thinking, flipping heck, that's confusing, God. Why is that in the Bible? I have questions about my own religion, and I'm like, hang on, how far do I need to look into that? I've been, as I said at the beginning, I've been raised up as a Christian, and I that's what I believe. And you haven't been raised up in that Christian way, and that's what you believe, and that's cool. But I think you said that quite well. But there's still things here I question about Christianity and God, and why does God say this and why does God say that? So I can relate to you in some sense, in terms of like the overwhelming sense of how small our minds are. Our brains are pretty clever, but there's still so much to grasp with so many questions in society and just in life that we have. So yeah, I can relate to you in that sense from a religious point of view.
Interesting. All right, now Phil, you had one last question you wanted to talk about?
Yeah. Aleks, if we go to the other Aleks.
Yeah, I understood that. It was a joke.
I'm not really getting jokes today.
I can see that. I haven't heard any laughter from you at all today.
Yeah.
Phil sounds like he's just been stabbed. Phil sounds like he's just sitting there bleeding out, looking at the pile of blood under him, and he's just,
what's going on?
Gotta continue the podcast. He's looking down the dripping blood off the knife, and he's like, so, what do we think of religion?
Alright, Phil, continue.
Serbian Aleks. Let me just make that clear. This is for
my
the Serb.
My German Phil. What's up?
German Phil.
Let's not go down that route. That was kind of weird.
Serbian Aleks.
Yes.
So Aleks, one of the questions that I had prepared for you earlier, is that if I were to offend God, he will just kill me. And the quote that I have here, Judas' firstborn was wicked in the sight of the Lord, and the Lord slew him. And Judas said unto Onan, go in unto thy brother's wife and marry her, and raise up seed of thy brother. And Onan knew that the seed should not be his, and it came to pass, when he went into his brother's wife, that he spilled it on the ground, lest that he should give seed to his brother. And the thing which he did displeased the Lord, therefore he slew him also.
Yeah.
So pretty much God kills Judah's kid, right?
Yeah.
Which to me just doesn't make any sense, because the child didn't do anything and the child is innocent. But God still saw him as wicked.
Right.
And then God tells Judah to sleep with his brother's wife, which is probably like the biggest family betrayal that there could be.
Yeah. Right. So what's my question? Are you saying what the hell's going on?
The thing is though, they're all messages though, aren't they?
But why is God telling a man to sleep with his brother's wife and kills him when he doesn't do so?
Right, okay. So I'm thinking, what's going on? That's proper weird. Brothers sleeping with other people's wives and all that jazz. I'm thinking, hang on a minute, let me have a look. So there's this really, when I was doing my research, there was this good site, I think it's called BibleStudy.com or something Christian name like that. And this site pointed me out to Doritos?
Doritos?
Yeah, no. Yeah, Doritos 25:5. No, Jerusalem 25, chapter 25, verse 5. So, if brothers are living together and one of them dies without a son, his widow must not marry outside the family. Her husband's brother shall take her and marry her and fulfill the duty of a brother-in-law to her. Now, like, that's quite a lot to unpack. So, with the whole sleeping with brothers and all of that weird stuff.
Wait, sleeping with brothers? Where the fuck?
Well, hang on, no, sorry. Brothers' wives. Let me correct myself. It was a law. At that time, it was a law. Now you think, hang on a minute, what? How is that made a law? That's something I can't answer, and I find a bit odd. But that's where, Christians digress and say, is that wrong? Is that right? Etc. Etc. So yeah. Now with that in mind, if you add Deuteronomy 25 verse 5 into where are we? Where's this from? Genesis.
This is Genesis 38, 7 to 10.
13, 7 to 10. There we are. Yeah, it kind of adds a little bit more context to it. So it's kind of how do I say this without just waffling? I wouldn't say it's deemed like okay just because it was a law at that time, but I'd say it was a little bit more normalized because in a society back then that was okay. I've just made some quotes here, not quotes. I've made some notes here. So give me just a minute to read through them. Hang on, just bear with me.
The thing is also, if you don't mind me interrupting.
Yeah, go for it.
In this part, Judah's brother isn't actually dead, so it sort of makes the law invalid.
Right. Okay. Let me respond to you. So here we are. Law given in this time, it appears to have been a custom before, and which the patriarch might be directed to by the Lord in such a case when a brother died and left no issue, for the sake of multiplication of seed, according to the divine promise, and in which, in the time of Moses, passed into a law. If that adds a bit more clarity, I don't know. And then I've also got here, which also quoted reference to this verse in Colossians 1:18. It said here, and he is the head of the body, the church, and he is the beginning and the firstborn from among the dead, so that in everything he might have the supremacy. This can lead to controversial views, but the son's been quite important. So this is about the multiplication and like the actual technicality of reproduction, and with the whole law at the time of making sure that the son being born is quite important, because in that culture it's good to have a son because that's the head of the family and it carries on the blood, etc. And then here it said, I would also just read off my notes, and the thing which he did to displease the Lord, let me just read this out to you. Being done out of envy of his brother, and through let me slow down. And through want of affection to the memory of his name, and it may be out of covetousness to get to his estate into his own hands, and especially as he frustrated the end of such an usage of marrying a brother's wife, which appears to be according to the will of God, since it was after became known a law of his, and it was more displeasing, as it was not only a check upon the multiplication of Abraham's seed as promised, but since the Messiah was come from Judah, this was doing all to hinder in that lay in his power, wherefore he slew him also. So that's quite confusing, me just reading it out. I'm just trying to give as much context and understanding to the question because it's a quite complicated.
All this archaic speech is messing with my head, fam.
It's messing with my head. It's a lot to digest, even as a Christian, because it's quite a complex question. When you gave me these questions, Phil, I kind of shat my pants. I was like, wow, it's quite scary. I don't have to answer all of these. So you've definitely tested my faith here, but I've enjoyed it. It's been a challenge. So yeah, as I said, as Aleks just said, it's a lot. It's all very wordy, especially people listening to this. They're like, what the hell's going on? But like, yeah, that's the best I can give you. But I think at that time, if we're talking about what the heck, how come you got brothers sleeping with wives and all that stuff, I think at that time it was deemed normal because it was a law. Now, what was the main premise about this question and about what Genesis had to say? What were you thinking when you gave me this, Phil? Like, where was your head at with this?
So I was wondering, just because he didn't put his seed, for a lack of better words, into his brother's wife, which I assume is out of respect for his brother's wife, how come
and his brother?
Yeah, exactly. How come God was like, you know what, you didn't do as I say, without even seeing the other side of the story? Now, again, that's just me assuming. God just kills him after killing his firstborn.
Yeah. I would say. Hang on, just bear with me. I would say that. Let me just think about this. Just give me a minute. I'd first of all say, at the end of the day, God has the authority. He's the one in charge, and what he says goes. Now that just sounds, from a different view, quite arrogant. It's like, hang on a minute, what? But at that time, that's how it went. I don't know if I've said that correctly or if that made much sense. But repeat the question one more time, just so I can understand it more. Say that again.
So God kills his subject, who is actually loyal to him regarding Christianity and following God's orders. But out of respect, so we're talking about Judah, out of respect, he doesn't sleep with his brothers. Well, he sleeps with her, but he doesn't impregnate her. Right?
Right.
Why does God then just off him?
That's a big question, and I can't give you the straight answer. If I'm completely honest with you, you can ask me this question again. I can get back to you. But I would say that it's number one is the authority of God, and that's what God said, and that's how it went. But that's all I can say. I can't say much more than that, and I'll be happy to look into it a bit more and give you a more clear answer, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
Anyways, that concludes the 10th episode. Again, thank you very much to our special guest, Aleks.
You're
It's
welcome,
been
bro.
an absolute pleasure to have you on here and share about your views.
It's been a pleasure coming on and speaking about it. Thank you for having me on.
Awesome. All right, well, Aleks, the Serbian,
Yeah.
would you like to do the outro?
I'd love to do the outro. Thank you for listening, guys. And this has been podcast on Christianity.
Thank you for listening to the Deep Day podcast. You can find us on Instagram, Spotify, iTunes, and YouTube. Enjoy the podcast, and more can be found at www.deepdaycast.com. Thanks again, and have a great week.